Shalom, Yashra Allah, Shalom, Yashra Allah, Kahalo, Yahweh, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rikaha Kadash. I'm back to you in another straight to the point moment and just dealing with the build up to the topic that we started off with yesterday. You know, from the new covenant to the elect have sung a new song, the elect have obtained it. All right, the elect sing a new song, and the elect have obtained it. All right, so we're gonna go right into it. I left off of Hebrews chapter 8, but I wanted to really go back, and we're just gonna go back to Hebrews chapter 10. All right, Hebrews chapter 10, we'll start at verse 9, just building up to the main topic. Man. This is part two. All right, Hebrews chapter 10, and we'll start at verse 9. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will. We see mentioned in the book of Matthew where he's speaking to the Pharisees and Sadducees, and even also the brethren, they had come to do the will of the Father. That's when he made him come to do thy will. O Yahweh, who? O Yahweh, the Most High. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. And so this is why Hamashiach was sent and taught amongst us, and then later risen up and sanctified us through his bloodshed. So this was the will of the Father, to do what? Take away the first, which was the first covenant, which had been broken and destroyed by who? Us. To establish what? The second. This is why he said this in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 9. I'm reading it again. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Yahweh. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. And so this is the context in which we're dealing with, all right? We'll go on to verse 10. By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once and for all. And so this is what end point, a period on which he came to do. All right, building up. And why is this so? Let me read it again. By the which will we are sanctified. Who? We are sanctified. And we're going to get into the we who are sanctified. Through the offering. Through the what? Offering. Through the what? Offering. This is an offering acceptable by who? The Most High God. All right, this is why when he was baptized by John, he said, This is whom my son, and whom I love, and whom I am very well pleased. Why? Because he had committed these things, the oracles that he was about to do, they were already committed back to the Most High God. The things in which he walked and said, the teachings, even the full out doctrine was that of the Most High God. All right. Verse 10, by the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once for all. Verse 11, and every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifice. So the brothers were already still in the old covenant offering sacrifice. You see this in the New Testament, still offering sacrifice. What? Let me read it again. And every priest standeth daily, what? Daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. Headshot. And the brothers who are out there teaching this, we're under the old covenant, but then turn around and say, well, you can't keep all the commandments. You brothers are confused, literally confused, man. This is why your teaching style is the same. You repost the same vids of other brothers reposting the same vids. You're on a fear campaign of fear mongering. That's what your doctrine is. Men's doctrines, the doctrine that they made King Masha, King David. That's a doctrinal belief by a certain group of men or many group of men, and they made an oath to the Most High God, but can't keep that oath. So they're gonna have to answer for that. That was an oath that they took and made doctrine through that oath that Masha was King David, that Abba Bivin was the priest John. You made that oath, but you still teaching that doctrine. This is why you still have the leaven in your doctrine. But again, we're going to continue on, all right? I'm going to read verse 11 again. And every priest standeth daily, ministering, and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices, which can never take away sin. And this is why you're still stuck under that veil, that stupor, man. All right, verse 12. But this man, who? This man, which is who? Hamashiach Yahushua, after he had offered one sacrifice. How many sacrifices? One sacrifice. How many sacrifices? One sacrifice for sins forever. How long? Forever. Let me say it again. Forever. sat down on the right hand of God. This is what we mentioned back yesterday in the books of Jeremiah 31, Luke chapter 22, and then the build up to Hebrews chapter 8. We were mentioning this, the build up, so you can get the understanding. And for those who lack understanding or still stubborn to what they're hearing, hey brother, we still love you, but eventually hope you get it. And if you don't get it, may it be a stumbling block unto you, all right? Unfortunately, it's a stumbling block unto you. Just like it was a stumbling block unto those brothers back then who were hearing the same doctrine from Yahushua himself and couldn't quite grasp the concept. That's why he spoke to them in what? Parables and similitudes, and they didn't get it. But to those who meant to get it, the elect men that were supposed to get it, they understood, and they sung what? A new song. All right, let's continue. Back at verse 12. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of Yahweh. Verse 10. Verse 13. From henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his what? Footstool. And we see this back in the book of Psalms, man. The same mercies applied that were given unto David. We see the root of Jesse being risen up through who? Hamashiach. And the same principle applied here in verse 13. This was the foretelling back in Psalms of what was happening here. And now it's being manifest, and it had already happened here in Hebrews 10. And you see the remembering or the revisiting the same conversation that Yahushua was having with his brethren and with those priests and elders, man. The same thing. Those apostles that were leading those churches, that he was explaining the same thing. Verse 13 again. From henceforth, expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. This is why he's at the right hand of God, expecting till his enemies be made what? His footstool. Because everything has already been fulfilled. Verse 14. For by one offering he had perfected forever them that are sanctified. Who? Them. Which is who? The elect that are sanctified, because they believe in the doctrine. They believe in what was told, and through faith they carry out action on what they believe. This is why they're the ministers of what? A much better covenant, a much better teaching. The minister of what? Of the new covenant. Verse 15, whereof the Ruach HaKodesh also is witness to us. Who? The them in verse 14 is the us that is talking to this day. That's who the Ruach HaKodesh. This is why we're taught of no man, but we're taught of what? The Spirit of God, man. We're taught by literally the Ruach HaKodesh of the Most High. This is why we sing a new song. We speak a different language. To those who sing, it seems a different language, but it's really the same language being reiterated. But you're not quite grasping the concept because you're still stuck under that old veil. Right? Verse 14 again. For by one offering he had perfected forever them that are sanctified. Verse 15. Whereof the Ruach HaKodesh also is witness to us. For after that he had said before. What? Said before. Past tense. Verse 16. This is the covenant. What? This is the covenant. What? This covenant is mentioned back in Jeremiah. It's mentioned in Luke chapter 22. The same covenant you see mentioned in the book of Psalms, man. All right, the same covenant. Verse 16, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days. So you see past and present. And then you see the future here because it had already been fulfilled when he got up on that cross, on that tree, that cross, and died for us. And for remissions of sins through his blood, we are being sanctified. This is why we speak and carry in action what he does, man. All right. Verse 16 again, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith the Most High. I will put my laws into their heart. How he's putting his laws to heart? We are here teaching. He's teaching us by what? The Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of the Most High God. We're teaching. We're spreading the word. And in their minds will I write. And in our minds, we're able to retain these things. This is why we don't deviate from it. This is why he said nothing can separate us from the Most High God. Let's get that, man. Let's get that. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32, verse 40, man. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 32. We know what? We'll start a few verses up, man. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 32. We'll start at verse 38. Matter of fact, we'll start. Yeah, we'll start at verse 39. No, we'll start at verse 37. And behold, I will gather them out of all the countries whither I have driven them in mine anger and in my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again unto this place and will cause them to dwell safely. All right? And then here go the context here. Because we know these are things that had to be brought forth. Because some brothers still, well, these things they happen. Okay, they haven't happened just yet. But spiritually, they've already been fulfilled. This is the spirit behind what's being said. This is why you have to have faith. Just like Moses heard and believed, the same thing the brothers here, we heard and we believe. We had already know these things to be true. All right, verse 38, and they shall be my people, and I will be their power. Verse 39, and I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. Verse 40, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts. This is when he put his teaching in our minds. He's writing in our minds. He's putting the fear in our hearts, that they shall not depart from me. What? They shall not depart from me. And we haven't departed from him. To this day, we're still there, patiently waiting, enduring to the end. All right, let's go back. Let's go back. And to further confirm this, we go to Romans chapter 8. Further confirm this, Romans chapter 8. Start at verse 37. The book of Romans chapter 8, verse 37. No, verse 30. We'll say verse 30. Verse 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? So all these things, who shall separate us from this, man? Brothers going through tribulation with other brothers because they don't believe wholeheartedly. Brothers going through distress, they up late night teaching, but he give his beloved sleep, rest. So for the brothers who understand it, we still get our sleep. It doesn't stop us, man. Or persecution. Those who believe, the brothers who marched over there for Kyrie, those brothers believe in the new covenant. Persecution, man. They being persecuted by not only the enemy, but even other brothers of other sects, man, because it's not their camp or their body or their doctrine that's put them up front. The Most High God do all things according to his will, man. Or famine or nakedness or peril or sword, right? Those things will be happening. Verse 36, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Verse 37, nay, in all things we were more than conquerors through him that loved us. Through who? Through him that loved us. Who is the? Through him, Hamashiach, man, that loved us, right? Verse 38, for I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor what things to come. We know these things are coming, man. And we know the things of the present. For again, we are made friends unto the Most High, just like Moses and Abraham was. Why? Because we know what our master doeth. It's no longer a secret to us. It's not a parable. It's not something we don't understand. We understand the dark sentences and the dark sayings and similitude because what? We understand more than the angels because we keep thy precepts, man. We keep thy precepts. Verse 39, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us. Who is the us, the elect, from the love of Yahweh, which is in Hamashiach Yahushua, our other one. Headshot. Right there, man. Simple. All right, so back to Hebrews chapter 10. Then we'll continue on, verse 17. No, verse 16. This is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith the Most High. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them. Verse 17. And their sins and iniquity will I remember no more. And this is part of the new covenant, or the new covenant, where we have a remission of sin, or grace, or mercy that was promised unto who? The house of who? David. And now we still have those same promises because that was a covenant in itself that he had established with who? Hamashiach Yahushua, the root of Jesse, man. All right. That's Hebrews 7:14. For it is evident that our Lord has sprung out of Judah, which Moses spake nothing concerning of the what priesthood. We have a new and better priest, a better offering, a better sacrifice, man. A better covenant with better what promises. All right. Let's continue, man. Verse 18. Now, for remissions of these, is there no more offering for sin? Is there no more offering for sin? Because some of you brothers in the new old covenant, we ain't gonna be offering no more for sins, right? We ain't gonna be offering no more in the kingdom, right? Let's continue. It's gonna be made perfect, right? Let's continue. Verse 19, having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the holiest by the blood of Hamashiach, meaning we are that sin, that sacrifice. Now make yourselves a what? Living sacrifice. We entered into our rest. So now we partaking of the same things Hamashiach would do. We're going to partake in that same glory. All right. Verse 20, by a new and living way, by what? A new and living way, by what? A new and living way, which he hath consecrated for who? Us. Through the veil. Through what? Through the veil, which some of you brothers still stuck up on it. That is to say, his flesh. Verse 21, and having a high priest over the house of who? Yahweh. The house of who? Not the house of David, but the house of Yahweh. This tabernacle that we seen back in Hebrews chapter 8, man. This is the tabernacle, house of God, man. No longer submitted to David. The kingdom had been transitioned over to who? Yahweh Shai, man. It's already been transitioned over to him. So now we are under the house of God. We're priest under the house of God, man. Verse 22, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, obedience, having our hearts sprinkled, what? Hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water, which is the doctrine of the Most High God, man. The same doctrine that Yahweh Shai taught to us, man. Same doctrine, man. Same doctrine. All right, verse 23. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering. No need to waver, for he is faithful that promised. For he is what? Faithful that promised. Headshot, man. Continuing on, man. Hebrews chapter 12, we start at verse 23. Hebrews chapter 12, we start at verse 23. And keep bringing more out to you. This is a part 2. We'll have a part 3. Straight to the point, man. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 23. To the general assembly, meaning to us all, because we all hearing this, man. To the general assembly and church of the firstborn. Who? Church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven. All right. So if you've been woken up in this truth, man, you literally are the church of the firstborn. But now, notice, which are written in heaven, and to Yahweh, the judge of all. Who? The judge of all. And to the spirits of the just men made perfect. Who? So you see the separation between the church of the firstborn, those brothers and sisters woken up, general assembly, because they're coming out of the general assembly of us all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect. Who? Just men who are made perfect. Why? Because we believe in the doctrine. We fully believe in assurance, man, that we just seen back in the book of Hebrews chapter 10. All right? Made perfect. Verse 24. And to Yahweh Shai, the mediator of what? The new covenant. Of what? The new covenant. Of what? The new covenant. Headshot, man. And to the blood of sprinkling that we see back in the law, in the books of Leviticus. We see this, the sprinkling of the blood to cleanse us of what? But who blood was sprinkled? Yahweh Shai, man. That's the offering. That speak of better things than that of Abel. Let me read it again. That speak of better things than that of Abel. So now that makes you think like, when was this new covenant really established or spoken of? Let's continue, man. All right, verse 25. See that ye refuse not him. Who is that? Not him that speaketh. That's Yahweh Shai, man. And some of you brothers literally, without knowledge, refuse him because you don't believe in the new covenant. You believe in the old covenant. You believe, and we're still built off our works. Yeah, we have to do works. This is why Romans 6:15 say, For do we continue in sin though grace abound? No. We basically reestablish what? The law. We reestablish it. We reinforce that which we have broken. We make anew, this is why it's called a new covenant. We make anew that which was broken, man. Same thing, but we just make it in a fresh start. According to the will of the Most High God. Headshot, man. Verse 25. See that ye refuse not him that speaketh, for if they escape not who refused him, you're not escaping. Your words gonna be your witnesses. Your own words gonna witness against you, man. That's Job 15:6-7, man. Your own words gonna witness against you. For if they escape not who refuse him that spake on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven. All right, and with that, I want to give all praise to Kahal Yahweh, Bahashem, Mashiach, Yahushua, Bahashem Rekah HaKadosh, death to America, and to the brothers out there. And in truth and sincerity, we are in the new covenant, and we're building up. The elect have obtained it. The elect sing a new song, and that song is what we're dealing with in the next video. Shalom,